It's not just the president who doesn't know the country. It seems most of the country has no idea who we are either. A new poll by YouGov asked people what percentage of the United States is black. Their answer, 41%. We think almost half the U.S. population is African American. And that makes sense if you consume a lot of media. But it turns out black Americans are a smaller slice of the pie than they thought. The real number, 12%. Only 12% of Americans are African American. How about Hispanic Americans? The poll shows that we all think that 39% of Americans are Hispanic. Way off again. Only 17% of the population is Hispanic. And it's not just race that we have no idea about. How many families have an annual income of over $500,000? We think 26% of Americans make over half a million dollars a year. We think everybody's rich. But really, just 1% of the country earns that much. We all make much less than we think. How about left-handed Americans? How many lefties exist? We all had those lefty desks in school. Remember how goofy it felt if you got stuck in one of those? Well, we estimated that 34% of America is left-handed. Sounds reasonable. I mean, each baseball team has a bunch of lefty relievers. But the real number is 11%. This is a right-hander's world, and don't forget it. How about this? How about the number of vegans or vegetarians? Well, Americans think 30% of the country is vegetarian, when really 5% of the population doesn't eat meat, which explains why it's the only thing left on the store shelves right now. Nobody wants it. How much of America's population, you ready, lives in New York City? The estimate was 30%, which would be nearly 100 million people, 1/3 of the country packed into 300 square miles here. That's what we think. The real number, 3%. Just 3% of the country lives here in New York. Ready? How many transgender people do you think live in the United States? The people who took this poll estimated 21% of our nation's population is transgender. 21%. A quarter of the country is trans. That's what people think. Now, are these news stories starting to make sense? In reality, the number is 1%. 1% is trans. How about gay people? We spend a lot of time talking about sexual orientation. With all that attention, surely that number must be high. Well, Americans estimated that 30% of their fellow citizens are gay. Wrong again. The real number is 3%. Now, is this starting to add up? The Democrats don't want you to know the real numbers because it would tank their entire agenda. They want you to see victims around every corner and elect more Democrats to right the ship. Millions of people who look differently, with different lifestyles, who eat differently, and who believe radically different things. It's just not true. This country is not New York City. It is the United States of America. Take this school situation in Florida, for example. Ron DeSantis signed a law banning teachers from talking about sexual orientation and gender theory in kindergarten through 3rd grade. Think about it. When did you learn about sexual orientation and gender theory? Kindergarten? 1st grade? 2nd grade? 3rd? Probably none of the above. I didn't even really start liking girls till like 5th grade. This is what the Democrats are pushing. Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe they're among the millions of people who are miscalculating, who think 21% of the country's transgender. Now, this law has the left really upset. One teacher tweeting this: out of the 32 students that I teach, 20 of them are LGBTQIA+. I feel that we need to do better. A 4th grade teacher says